Hey there, it's Brie Bear, and today I'm going to be doing a bullet journal flip through of this completed Flipthough 1917 bullet journal notebook. This is the color Berry. If you don't know, this was my bullet journal from March to July of 2017. This is my first official full-on bullet journal that's like the complete following the bullet journal system that's in a bound notebook like this. I've had bullet journal in the past. I had other types of bullet journals and other things. I had like traveler's notebook. I had like my own version. This is the first time that I actually used like the full-on used the bullet journal method for my planning system in a bound notebook and everything. So this is my first bullet journal, quote, quote, flip through, but it's not my first bullet journal, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it, and excuse the weirdness of this like setup here that may shake a little bit. I can't use my desk right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. I have the little Flipthough sticker. This notebook is pretty dirty because I've taken it basically everywhere. So I kind of want to have some sort of cover around my bullet journal now that I realized how disgusting it will get. I don't know. We'll see. So first things first, you open up my bullet journal and it has a doodle of a flower on here that I just kind of put on one day when I was sitting there and bored and wanting to doodle. I just filled it in with some fun flower designs. And sorry, but you can't see the whole flower because I had to cover up my phone number and address that I put on here. I decided to keep from putting it on there in my next journal so that I don't have to worry about it when I'm doing flip throughs or anything like that, or showing you my bullet journal. I don't have to worry about it. So moving on, the next thing we have is a quote: "Love the life you have," another little flower, and then "Live in the sunshine," and another doodle. And then we have some washi tape here to mark the next page, which is my key. I originally did not put a key in my bullet journal and ended up putting it in later on, and so I put it on this page so it would be in the front of the journal. So this page doesn't have the dot grid to it, but it does have what I needed it to have. Here we have my index, and what I did is I only indexed collections, and then for the monthlies, for the monthly sections, I would just put, like, for example, March started from page 1 through page 31, and so I'll find some things mixed in throughout that are not for March, but all of my monthly stuff for March is in that section. So if I'm looking for something and I'm trying to flip through and find something from March, then I'll look through pages 1 through 31. The monthly pages sections are bolded a little bit more, and then the other ones are just simple. I have dots here, and then some of them are a dot with a delta symbol. That's to set up my next bullet journal. I put dots for things that I thought I might want to put in my new bullet journal, and the ones that I thought I would want to put in there maybe, but change them if I did, would have the delta symbol next to the dot. But I only used the front and part of the back of one page for my index. I really didn't need that much space. Flipping on, I have another doodle here. I really liked this one. It was fun and simple, and just, I really liked it. I don't know. Then we have my March divider page. I wanted to have all my goals stuff on one spread, so I needed to fill up this space, so I put a little "Hello March" and I put a quote, and I liked it so much I decided to do it for all of my months. So that's what I did throughout the entire journal. This quote is one of my favorites. It says, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." At this point, I was using my Sargent Art marker, brush marker things for all of my color because I did not have any other markers. I don't particularly love them or really like them that much for anything, really. I had to use what I had at the moment, so that's what I had. Flipping on, we have my March goals. I broke this page up into 4 boxes, and I chose 4 areas of my life to work on. In each area, I had like a little motto going for the section, and then I had different tasks or goals in the section. Then I did a review page, and then I broke down each of the 10 sections of the level 10 life that is discussed in the Miracle Morning book. I didn't want to do the same thing that Boho Berry did. I wanted to do my own thing, and I'm glad I did, because I'm reviewing them monthly instead of just having like the level 10 life and level 10 goals stuff in here. Like, I'm literally reviewing every single month and going back and reevaluating every single month, and I'm really glad that I'm doing it that way. I think it works better for me. So I have each of the areas, and I don't like the layout of this page at all. It was terrible. I did not really plan it out at all. I just thought, oh, I'll just go back and forth from side to side, and so excuse that. So what I did was I evaluated myself on a scale of 1 to 10, like you do for the exercise of the level 10 life, and then I wrote some notes as to my thoughts of why I rated myself the way I did, so I knew why I was where I was at, or what I needed to change or improve, or where my downfalls were, so I could get a better idea of where to make adjustments and why I was where I was at. So looking back here now, months later, I can look back at this and know why I was at where I was at and what has or hasn't changed. So my ratings are consistent. Down here at the bottom, I have to do, change, or improve. And so these are just different things that I can do to work on these areas, particularly the lowest areas, the things that I can do for projects and tasks over the next month or two to really improve those areas. Flipping over, we have the dates and deadlines page, which basically is just their traditional monthly that comes with the bullet journal method that writer Carol originated. And so I have, the reason I call it dates and deadlines is because I have the date for any appointments or events, and then I also have the date for the deadlines of an assignment, so the day that an assignment is due. So I may complete the assignment beforehand, or it may have been assigned months before even, or days before, but I put the day it is due on the monthly spread, not the day that it was assigned or anything like that, or the day that I want to complete it by. I put the day that it is officially due. That way I know for sure when I have to have it on hand, ready to turn in or whatever. There's that. Then we have the March Align a Day. Flipping on, we have my first mood mandala, which is very interesting because A, I didn't like these markers, and B, my drawing skills for a mandala were not up to par at this point, so it's not my best. It's a really helpful thing to have to look at and to improve your mood. Flipping over, we have my monthly tracker, and then I had a quote here from Audrey Hepburn. I have the correlation chart, which I added in more than just you normally see mood, activity, diet, and sleep. I added on wellness and faith. Wellness being how I felt physically. If I felt sick or in pain, then it would be lower, and if I felt physically really, really great that day, then it would be higher. So you can see that things were pretty spaced out, and a lot of things were lower. Things like faith and activity were a lot lower than I wanted them to be. You can see some definite huge dips in my days, in my month. And then we have my tracker, and you can see that I had a pretty rough month. At the top, my habits or things along those lines, my social medias for YouTube and Instagram, like when I upload, all those things are at the top. On the bottom of my tracker, I have negative emotions for, so what that's tracking for me is it gives me an idea of where I'm at as far as how frequently I feel negative emotions. And obviously you can see during the middle of this month, I had a lot of negative emotions going on at the time. I had a lot going on in my life at that time. Like, you can see how that correlates here. And that's why I was tracking that, because you could see the correlation between the excess of my negative moods led to a lack of accomplishment in these areas. And at this point, I was not really doing like the Miracle Morning 30-day challenge or anything yet, so I wasn't really ready for all of the things that I was trying to track. I was trying to put in too much too quick. And the other thing is I didn't think very well when I did this layout, and a lot of these things are not things that I would need to do every single day. So this layout wasn't very smart. Over on the side, I decided to add up the number of days that I did each of these tasks, and write that in on the side. Flipping on, we have my first weekly. What I did was I put the days of the week on the side. I put the weekdays where I had classes bigger, and the ones where I didn't have class, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are my weekend days, I put those smaller, because on these days I would have deadlines. Everything that goes here is due dates for assignments, appointments, or events. None of these items are task items. They are all deadlines or due dates or appointments. They are time-oriented tasks, or they are time-oriented items only. I put these boxes where I was going to do a workout schedule, and I didn't follow through with it at all. Over here, I broke my life up into those same 4 areas that were on my monthly goals page, and I wrote in what was happening in my life or the projects that I was working on. So we had like working on reading the Miracle Morning book, start doing the Miracle Morning, for home cleaning, cleaning items, for business, growing my social presence, taking pictures for my Instagram and maybe a blog, and then whatever school things that I had going on that week as far as like what I should be working on and what I had coming up and stuff like that. I had a notes section. I had a wins section, which I really loved, but I didn't use it often enough. And it was basically just like any successes that I had throughout the week. So like conquering some things that I had for school. It was a really stressful month for me. And then I made it because I finally got through all of the things. Because like if you look at a Thursday and you see how many things I had going on, I had a to-do section for like just like task items that I wasn't going to be able to do that day, but I wanted to get to at some point, so I could just write them in here, and then put them on a day when I got around to them. And then I had this affirmation section, and I was going to write out like an affirmation for the week, but I never really used it, and I eventually dropped it. Flipping on, we have dailies. I use a time bar sometimes, but not all the time. I used it on this day because I had some appointments that day, so I wanted to mark those out. I also was tracking when the sunrise and sunset were going to be, because I had a photography class and I needed to be able to know when I was going to be able to take pictures throughout the day, when I was going to have daylight, so I knew at what points I could start and what points I should stop taking photos, and where I should schedule that into my day. I was also at that point, I had the weather icons on my on my dailies, and I was doing the level up tracking that I did, where basically the goal was to every 25 points I got, I would allow myself like a little $10 purchase. I would base it off of getting tasks done. One side where I would put the number of points that I earned that day, and then the other side I would put the number of points I had total at that moment. You can see I had a fail, but I was writing out to complete yesterday's list because I basically did nothing that I needed to do that day. So my goal was to finish the day before. Here I had a failed page that I wanted to cover up, and so I did that. Didn't like the way the page looked, so I covered it up. Flipping on, we have more dailies, and you can see my style is really, it was just quite messy and incomplete. And I didn't like the pens I was using at the time because they would wear down. So like they would write this thin when they were new, and over the course of time they would wear down. And so like between this point and this point, I had used that pen, that same exact pen, to take notes for school stuff, and because it had worn down so much, it was writing so much bigger. Here we have the Miracle Morning Routine and the Night Routine spread. This was supposed to just say my morning routine and my night routine, but life happens. I made several mistakes on this page and I wasn't really super happy with it, but I loved the idea of it and I thought it was such a cool concept, and so I still loved it anyway, even though there were mistakes on it. I marked a lot of my collections with washi tape. This was a mind map for a speech that I was going to do about making all school meals vegan. A second mind map because I had to change my topic because someone had already taken the topic of nutrition in school, so I switched to religion in school. Over here we have my next weekly. I added in spending and upcoming. Spending just to track anywhere I spent money other than food and gas, and then upcoming for anything that I had coming up within the next week, so that I knew at the weekend I knew what I should start working on for whatever was going to be due next. Flipping on, we have more dailies. This was definitely an improved spread from the previous one. I added in my word of the day line where I would write it in this blue fountain pen ink, and then you can see I had these boxes where I was starting to use my Calendex a little bit after this page. I put in my Calendex and everything, so that has to do with the Calendex. Flipping on, we have my wish list and my gift ideas spread. I really liked this side. This wasn't as cute, but it was still a pretty cute spread. It ended up getting wet though, and so it kind of ruined the page. But I just had this list of different ideas of things that I like or would like to try or want. Be good for gift ideas for other people to give me. Then I could pick from this list. And actually writing things down helps you to realize if they're important or significant enough to actually record in the list, because you only have so much space. Over here I had gift ideas, and I basically would write who I would be giving the gift to, what the gift was, and costs. I never really used the costs column, so I eliminated that in my new bullet journal, but I still love the spread. I think it's a really great thing to have, so anytime that I see something or I'm with somebody and they're like, oh, that's cool, or I think of, oh, they should read that book, or they should, you know, I should give them this, or oh, they would love fountain pens if they got into them, you know, so I can get ideas for things for like especially my mom and my dad and my sister and like my grandparents and like people that I'm close to. Over here I had a space for YouTube and blog ideas that I never really used this spread, and I never even started a blog. Flipping on, we have another weekly spread. You saw me draw this one out in my first Plan With Me video, so go check that out. But anyways, I rearranged things over here just a bit. I didn't really like this that much. I started writing in, this was the first iteration of putting weather things on my weekly page. I wrote in what the kind of weather was supposed to be. So like this day it was supposed to be stormy and warmer, cloudy and warm, cloudy and warm, stormy and warm, really warm, rainy and warm. And so that way I could get an idea of what the weather was going to be, and then I still put my icons on my daily pages. This time I tried something different for my daily weekend stuff. Instead of doing a daily, I did like a weekend section. Previously, I was doing the weekend all in just one big dump of a page, and so I thought I would try that again with this section. And so for my level up stuff, what I did is I did different colors for each day. With Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners, so I knew which day I did which item, so I would know when I could mark things for my level up things and stuff like that. I'm still doing the word of the day at this point. I don't like the look of it. It made things look too messy. And I never even really remembered the words anyways. And sometimes I would forget to even do it. Flipping on, we had my mistake over here, if you saw that, where I forgot to write these words that were right here. So I went back and put them in on the side. I have the brain dump page, and then which I love, I was able to write out my exam schedule here several weeks before I knew, or several weeks before we had exams. So when we did have exams and I knew which classes I was going to have an exam in or not and stuff like that, I was able to organize that onto that weekly. Moving on, here we have some doodles. When I was bored one day, I tried out some doodling and things. Moving on, we have my goals spread and my review page, which is definitely improved in its layout. I liked this much better. Flipping over, we still have the dates and deadlines and a line a day. I used my Parker Jotter for this, and I loved that color of ink. I don't know why, I just did. Here's my mood mandala number 2. Definitely, I liked some of the parts of it, but others not so much. Moving on, we have my tracker. You can see this month was definitely improved. I started the 30-day challenge for this. I started tracking my night routine and my medicine. I moved all of my emotion tracking up here, and I kept all of this to habits or media posts or things that I needed to make sure I did at some point during the month, like visiting my mom, for example. Like, I'm not going to be able to do that every single day I'm in school, but I was able to like keep an eye on, oh, it's been a while since I've gone to see her, I need to go see her again, you know. And you can see again my correlation chart was much better. I used TriPlus fine liners this time for that instead of trying to use the brush pens, because I was trying to use those, but they don't have, it's not like the Tombos where they have a bullet tip on the other end, so that was a problem. I don't really like the color scheme that I had at this point. I was using the colors that I felt like made sense with the item rather than just making the colors look pretty. Okay, so then we have my Calendex, and originally I didn't have any kind of color code for this, but I finally decided to do that because I got to a point where I needed to be able to put future tasks and items in. So I used a Calendex mixed with the Alistair method, just like Boho Berry uses. So moving on, I had just a little collection page to work on a photo essay that I had for my photography class. I had this page for a group speech, and then I also had a research project for my mass communications class, so I had all of those things. I just had pages where I could kind of jot down things and write out things. Here I actually started writing Monday on the header of the week page. Oops, so that got covered up. It was fun. Pretty much the same. I just rearranged the way that I was organizing this side constantly. I adjusted this just a little bit as far as the spacing. I totally failed and screwed up drawing my ribbon there. Oh well. This was my first pretty collection that I liked. But I drew this bookshelf, and then I wrote out books to read, and then I numbered the books, and then I wrote titles over here of books that I wanted to read. But the problem with this is the fact that I have so many books on my TBR that this really just doesn't work for me, because literally I could fill up this entire notebook and probably another one or two with just lists and lists and lists of books that I want to read. So it really isn't effective. So yeah. Over here we have my 20 facts about me spread that I did for my 20 facts about me video. This is another weekly. I used this little arrow theme. And then we move on to more dailies here. My friend Shannon, shout out to My girl gave me some stickers, and since I had an arrow theme that week, I stuck one of those in here. This is my for another photo project. I was gonna do this video about prom stuff, and so I had a page for that. You can tell I was very lazy with the way that I would write things and stuff like that. I was just very lazy and just careless about the way I made things look. More dailies, another week. My fountain pen wish list, I'm gonna have to adjust this if I do this again. I cannot write all of the colors of inks that I want to own in full-size bottles and all of the pens just like this. Like, it just doesn't work. Here we go for more things. I had a little extra space at the bottom here, so I put, quote, "Life is not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself." It's a really good quote. Flipping over, I had some church notes because I forgot my notebook, so I just took them in my bullet journal. I finally got the Faber-Castell brush pens as a gift, and so I started using those in my next weekly. This is one of my favorite weekly spreads. I loved the color combo. I really loved the colors in this. I thought it was fun. I liked my doodles in it. I just really liked this one. And these dailies are pretty good too. I'm pretty happy about this. Like, I mean, in comparison to previously, like, it was a huge step up. I liked my color scheme going. It was a lot better. More church notes. I forgot my notebook again. And then I had extra space, so later on I came back and doodled in some arrows because I wanted to have a reference for different types of arrows that I could draw and different ideas for arrows. May brain dump page. I had like the read along schedule in here and stuff like that, and different notes and ideas and stuff. Basically, it's all my brain dump is. Then we have my goals and my review page. We have my dates and deadlines. I added in a color code here for that. Then my one line a day. I started using different colors of fountain pen ink and stuff. I tried a doodle gratitude log. Didn't really like it. For me personally, not my thing. My mandala was definitely better. That was definitely a step up. Both the color scheme was better and my drawing had improved. My tracker, changes are happening. Things are getting somewhere with that. Moving on, I tried the Doodle With Me challenge. I did it all as one big picture. It was fun and definitely interesting. Not my favoriteest thing ever, but you know. And then I tried the Zen Art challenge as well, and I did them kind of everywhere, and I liked it, but I don't like the way that it's like so not clean. It doesn't look clean. And it's like hard to see each of the designs individually this way. I had a birthdays page, so I put down people's birthdays and highlighted people that are family. And then I taped that with a bar so that it was more divided. I did a full bar from top to bottom for the Calendex page, so it was easy to find. Then we have another week. More dailies. I put a time bar on that day because I had appointments that day. I tried doing different things for my headers. You can see my headers changed quite frequently for my dailies. I tried another time bar. I used that for some things. Some ideas on how I could start making money because I don't have a job. I'm a full-time student. I was trying to figure out ways that I could like make a little bit of money here and there. Over here we have my summer projects page. Moving on, I eventually added a doodle on this empty page. This was completely blank, and I came back a little bit later and doodled onto that page. And then we have more dailies, another week. More dailies. I love this strive for progress, not perfection. Then I added in a quotes page to collect ideas of quotes that I love, basically. And then more dailies, and then another weekly. I added in a memory verse section. to the mix and tried to do a memory verse for each week. I was trying to do a daily time bar at that point, and then I dropped doing the daily time bar from there. I decided to make a page for the books that I had completed over the course of 2017. I quit using this when I started my new bullet journal, but basically just like to keep up with all the books that I read over the course of the year. Then we have June. Brain dump, goals, review, deadlines and dates, 1 line a day. Then I added word of the day. So I wanted to try word of the day again, but in a more structured situation, and I really liked this. Problem is, like, at the end of the day, I really don't like the word of the day stuff because of the fact that a lot of times it's not words that are very useful unless you're writing, and honestly, like, I wouldn't remember all of these words when I'm writing. I want to expand my vocabulary just in a better way than a word of the day, because you really aren't gonna remember it. This is probably like one of my best mandalas. It was like a huge step up. I was getting better and better, and I'm so happy about that. Then I added a meal tracker to track my eating. So what I did was I did a column for my first, second, and third meal of the day, and then 2 spots for snacks. So I did, I normally don't eat breakfast, so for the most part it was just like coffee. So it just didn't work out. I didn't like it. Alright, so then we did the doodle with us. I loved this one. It was super fun. I wanted to come back in and do something on the side, but I never did. But I think it is super fun. I loved the fact that I kept the color scheme the same throughout the page, and it really made me happy, and I like that one a lot. Zentangle challenge, again, fun, but it was just so hard to do in these tiny squares. There's not really enough space. And I'm not really, I feel like, very good at Zentangles. So then we have my June tracker, and you can see definite improvement in both these. I decided to leave a space here to separate out the more daily type things and the more periodic things. So that was a definite improved change. We're on YouTube, but my videos didn't really need that full page, so that was kind of dumb of me. And then I had for Instagram and the Studying Amino app, which I did not at all use this page. Like, I hardly posted on either of them. I did post like one thing on Studying Amino. So then I have my next weekly. I didn't even write in my verse. I changed wins to moments, so it was more like memories of the week, or of the month, the week. This is a weekly. Memories from the week rather than just like wins. I put this next section for the different areas of my life because at this point we're in summer and I don't have like school, so I had changed the areas of my life a little bit, and I changed, I added this little next section for what I was going to do from then on. And then I got the idea to add in my weather on my page for my week instead of on my dailies. So then I had a prayer list. We have dailies. Without the weather icon there, I was able to change up my daily headers. I was going to do Camp NaNoWriMo, and I was doing a brainstorm for that. And then I have another daily, my miracle morning. I wanted to break down the different activities that I want to do for my miracle morning. Moving on, we have another week page. I moved my up next around a little bit, rearranged this page. I put the weather icons right here. Moving on, we have more dailies. This was, I was stressed, frustrated, and I needed to get some positivity into my life, so I did a little doodle. Saw this quote and I had to write it down. It was so funny. It says, "I got a pen from Starbucks, but it only writes in JavaScript." JavaScript is a font for those of you who don't know. So here's another weekly. I used fountain pens for like all my headers and stuff. Still trying really hard with that memory verse. I had this same memory verse on there for like ever, and I still don't have it memorized. It's a really good section of verse, but I don't have it memorized. Okay, I finished Lord of Shadows and I had so many feels, and so I wrote that in on my daily. We were working on church camp stuff, so I had just like some ideas of things that I was thinking about written in here. This was another weekly. I accidentally miscalculated my space here, so I did a little doodle in the middle to fill it in. I didn't even write in my memory verse. I dropped the up next thing because I just didn't like the way it was going. I wrote in this express workout that I used to do so I could have it for reference. I put in movies to see. I put that a page for that in here because I had some post-its that I was going through, and I had several post-its of movies that I wanted to see. More dailies. Quotes I love continued because I ran out of space on the previous one. Camp, working on our set lists and songs for camp. And then we have more dailies, and then we have the workout schedule pages, and then more dailies. Then we have another weekly, and then we have another set of dailies, another set of dailies, and then we move into July. And then we have a brain dump page. We have my goals and review, which I just did today. And we have the dates and 1 line a day with 1 space left. I totally gave up on my word of the day thing. I just kind of gave up on it because I realized how unimportant it was for me and how inefficient it was. It wasn't really doing anything for me, so I dropped it. I'm not done with my mandala. I need to do some more doodling. I totally made a mistake up here. My meal tracker I changed up to do this column thing, so I have like a column for the date, a column to mark if it was a snack or dessert, a column to mark if there was meat in the meal, and then a column to write in what it was that I ate. I totally gave up on the Doodle with Us challenge. I got focused on other more important things, and like at first I was like, oh, okay, I'll just skip around, and whenever I get an idea for how I want to doodle something, I'll do that. And then I just kind of like lost interest in wanting to do it, and so I didn't. Moving on, we have the Zen Art Challenge, which I never even made my finished, like I never even wrote in the patterns or put the made a Pinterest board for it, which is what I did previously. I made a Pinterest board so that I could just find it on my phone and I wouldn't have to get my laptop out. Alright, our Treka. Definite improvement. This was the space when I was at camp. These are like the things. There is the space here for extra space so I can add in things on either side. I do and I don't like this. And then we have the color code, or the color scheme up here is way better now. I changed that completely. Flipping on, section for collections to make. At this point I was really ready to get into a new bullet journal, and so I was like, well, what kind of collections could I add to this bullet journal that I would actually enjoy and want to use, or that would be helpful to me? And then I made a collection for 18 by 2018. Something happened in my brain and I totally forgot to actually say what these pages were. So this is a master to-do list and an undo list. And then I have my gratitude log. At camp I did not even like really ever touch my bullet journal except for the list that I made for specifically for camp. I did 5 things for each day because that's what I'd been doing previously, and my notebook that I'd been using ran out, and so there is that, and I've completely finished that today. I used this extra space. We watched a video at church and I was going to use this space. Turns out the video, I couldn't really take that many notes from it, so I blocked it off, and then we came up with some ideas for some day trip things that we could do. I minimized the number of things that I'm going to put for my gratitude log because it's unnecessarily long. And so then I have my period tracker because I am irregular and I need to be able to have a visual idea of what's going on. Start and end dates, and then notes for anything. Another weekly, I changed this from current projects to just currently. It's just like I can pick different sections. Still trying so hard with that memory verse. And then I put another little doodle. I was stressed out and frustrated, and so I was like, you know what, the important people will always notice what's going on. More dailies. I was planning for my next bullet journal here. Then we have more dailies. Some ideas and thoughts about setting standards for my dietary things. So this was kind of the beginnings of working on that. So this is just like a little mind map of things that I can do for people I care about that are around me to improve relationships and things. This was a mind map for the team building exercises I was in charge of working on for camp. This was my packing list for camp. I have a language journal for French that I'm working on, and so I was like looking at different ways that I can study language aside from like regular class assignments and stuff, ways that I can work on it on my own and do my own personal studying. I didn't hardly touch this weekly because of camp. Pages for my language journal, things to get. We had to go back to the house and pick up some things before we left for camp, and so I was making a list of the things that I needed to get, but turns out I didn't need a whole page for it. And I'm pretty sure we didn't even use that list. Daily, and we had like this extra span of time that me and my dad needed to come up with something to do, and so I made a list of things that we could do for that. This was my post to do stuff for camp for when we came back, and then some handwriting practice. I changed up my weekly quite a bit here. And then I got the Paper Flare Candy Pops colors finally, so I showed myself that that's when I purchased those. Ideas for an online store. What would you guys want to see from me if I opened an online store? What would you want me to sell? Let me know. Alright, prepare for the stars to align. I just put a little quote. Monthly pages that I wanted to have for my new bullet journal because I was starting to set it up. More handwriting practice, more dailies, new weekly. This was for last week. This was, I added a new section called assignments. I want to like give myself assignments rather than like just say these are my current projects, because like if I say okay these are my assignments and then give myself due dates for those things, then it's like more structured and I feel like I would like stick to it better. I finally got rid of that memory verse section at this point. More dailies. TBR brainstorm for this coming month. I don't think I'm sticking with this at all, really. Some of them are the same, but not all of them. Things I could do to feel better about my appearance. I have things that I want to do, like teeth whitening. Flipping over, we have yesterday's daily, and then a little quote from a song. Every little thing is gonna be alright, because it is. It's totally gonna be fine. Are we there yet? This is church notes from yesterday. Blank page. Next videos, I put week, I don't know why, but like the videos that I want to do over the next little bit. And then we have a couple blank pages. And then we have my pen test page. So that is it. That is this bullet journal and a big flip through of everything in it. This video is probably going to be longer, and I apologize. Thank you if you stuck with me all the way to the end. You are the real MVP. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see how I set up the front of this bullet journal, and if so, I will make a video for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to hear from you in the comments, and peace out, Bear Scouts. About your worries and your stress. I need a bare necessity. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. About your worries and your stress. I need a bare necessity. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.